I'm Judy.
And I'm Haley. And welcome to Noodle Brains. So kick off your shoes.
Grab your Kool-Aid.
And let's get started. So we've uploaded 2 episodes so far. They've done pretty well. And we've had an overwhelming amount of support, I would say.
We have.
It's been really cool to be able to hear stories from everyone that watches and everyone that listens. And just get to, kind of know our audience a little better. So today we were going to start off talking about anxiety in school. And I know you don't struggle with this right now because you're not in school, but
I did.
Yeah.
I know what it feels like.
It's definitely hard to deal with. And I feel like as, times have become different, it's definitely depends on the type of person you are.
Yeah.
Because I've always been the kid, I had to have an A. Had to have the best grades. I couldn't let anyone get a better grade than me. I couldn't make bad grades. And it wasn't because I'd get in trouble. My mom was like, okay, just bring it up. I don't really care. But she's harder on my brother because he tends to not try as hard as I do. But I've always tried so hard at school. But it's something I enjoy. How were you in school? Were you like that?
I was excited if I made a C. Okay. I didn't make all C's, but I did my freshman year cheat on a test, and it caused me obviously to fail the test. And my brother was in my class because my brother and I went through school together, and so I got caught cheating and got called out on it, and I wasn't able to try out for cheerleader because I ended up making a D overall because of failing my semester exam.
How did you cheat and get caught? That's here's my thing. If you're smart enough to cheat and not get caught, you deserve the grade you get.
I think I wrote it on my hand, and I was
Judy.
doing this thing. It was bad. It was bad. Okay, listen. I told you the last time that we talked that when I have anxiety, I break out in hives. But that's what I did in high school. I don't do that anymore. But it was very obvious when I had anxiety. And it's really funny because back when I was in school, I had anxiety when I got in front of the class. If I had to do a book report, it was total anxiety. You talked about last week about having to walk across the class to go to the bathroom. Me too, anxiety big time. But now that I'm older, I'm bypassed that, and I actually enjoy speaking, when I go to schools and dance in front of all these people and read my story. I have zero anxiety.
Well, I don't have anxiety if I'm giving a presentation.
Oh, you don't?
No, I can stand in front of the class, read anything you want me to read. I can present you anything. I love presentations.
Because you're in theater.
Yeah, and same thing with pageants. It's almost, I don't know, it's something different. But if at church, if we're late and we have to walk in front of people to go sit down, that stresses me out. But I think it's more of a...
So what do you have anxiety about then?
It's just I think it's the fact that everyone's just sitting. And especially in class when I'm having to walk to go to the bathroom, no one else is doing that. If everyone else is, it's different. But if just you're getting up, people are going to be like, oh, where's she going?
So do you have anxiety about trying to be perfect? Or something?
I don't know.
Making A's or
I think when I'm going to the bathroom, I don't have anything to focus on. So I'm just please don't look at me, please don't look at me. But when I'm when I'm doing theater and stuff, all I have to focus about is my lines or my song I'm singing. And then in pageants, I just have to worry about, hey, look at the judges, don't fall off the stage.
Yeah.
You're not worried about all those people looking at you. So it's weird.
So you have anxiety when taking tests?
Big tests? Well, yeah. Some, I took a chemistry exam the other day. I wasn't that anxious during it because I've kind of taught myself, listen, what is the point of you stressing about this? You're either going to make a good grade or you're not. There's nothing you can do right now to fix that.
Yeah.
And in the mornings, that class is in the morning, and in the mornings I'm mellowed out because of my medicine.
Yeah.
So I'm doing really good.
Yeah.
But if it's later in the day, I would definitely, the ACT stresses me out.
Oh, that stresses me out.
Well, just because if it's a lot of words put together, chemistry is a little different. It depends how the test is laid out. If it's a math test and it has problem here, problem here, problem here.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's like a reading test or something and you have like a whole passage, I can't do it.
Yeah.
That stresses me out.
So how do you handle your anxiety? When it's like, when your anxiety is like maxed out, what do you do to lower your anxiety?
Like at school?
Yeah.
If I'm in the middle of a test, sometimes I just have to like lay everything down and just like close my eyes and just pray and just be like, I just need guidance right now. Like I just need help to just kind of calm down. And I'll just take a minute and I'll just kind of sit there and I'll breathe. And I'll just kind of like, I like to rub my hands like this, or I'll like massage my hands, and I just kind of sit there and I'm just like, okay, like let's restart, let's go back to the beginning and we can do this. But I definitely couldn't just like keep going through it. I usually have to take a pause and like a little break to get through it.
I usually handle like severe anxiety. Now this is before really learning how to calm myself, but my therapist would have me get in the bed and literally lay flat in the bed and take deep breaths. Because my anxiety, there is a difference in anxiety and an anxiety attack.
Yeah.
And have you ever had an anxiety attack?
Yeah.
Me too. What happened?
Well,
with
there's
you?
like, I don't know if you can feel this way, but there's like different ones. Like you can have one that's like inside of your head where your head's going like 90 to nothing, your eyes are kind of going back and forth, and you're just like sitting there and you can't speak.
Yeah.
Then I feel like there's the ones where you're like hyperventilating and you can't breathe, and then like you're losing your breath and you're just kind of sitting there almost like choking on air.
Yeah.
I have those, not as much as I used to, but I have the ones like in my own head, I have them every once in a while, but the out loud ones, I have them maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks.
I had this anxiety attack one time. It was Thanksgiving, and my husband had left me, not Shane, but my husband before.
We don't like him.
Right. He had left me, and it was Thanksgiving, and I did not have my children. And I went to Thanksgiving at my brother's house, and we were all sitting around the table, and all of a sudden, my grandmother, bless her soul, says, "Let's go around the table and say what we're thankful for." And so everyone was going around the table. I'm thankful for my wife, or I'm thankful for my mom, and it was my turn. And I did not feel it coming. I mean, I kind of felt like I felt the tears coming. But all of a sudden, I am in a full, like, anxiety attack where I could not breathe. I could not catch my breath. And my brother took me outside in the cold. Because when you expose yourself to the cold, you can catch your breath.
And it feels so good.
I couldn't breathe, and I did not know what was going on. That was the first full-fledged anxiety attack, because the thought of not being able to breathe from having anxiety
gives you anxiety.
It's so scary.
It is, because like I know sometimes like I'll be like
Yeah.
And then that's where I'm just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's definitely hard to get yourself to breathe again, because if you're stuck, you can't do it.
Well, I remember when I was younger, and I was hyperventilating from anxiety, and my mother put a brown paper bag, where I was sucking it in and out to try to get my breath back. I remember that, and I can't remember what the anxiety was over at the time, but I can remember when I would have where I was hyperventilating, my fingers would go numb and my hands would curl up like this because of the flow of oxygen through.
Yeah.
And so that was like really tough. And when you have the point of anxiety attacks like that, like, you need help.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Like, that's not something that you can treat yourself.
Like, you can definitely learn how to fix it, but it's not going to get better if you're just constantly feeling like that.
I can honestly say that I haven't had one of those anxiety attacks since that day.
Well, that's good.
But I have learned, like, things that give me anxiety, and I really don't understand it, is like, this is almost embarrassing to talk about, but when someone cusses really, really bad, it gives me total anxiety.
Especially when you're out in public.
It is like, especially when they throw around the F-bomb or something like that, I can feel the anxiety like rolling up. Because it's like I take on the stress of them, of, if they're in anger and they're saying bad words, and then all of a sudden I feel stressed out because it's almost like I feel like I'm claustrophobic. And I have to remove myself from the situation because I cannot stand it.
Well, because then, like, I know I have family members that cuss a lot. Like, my dad does, which he's gotten a lot better at it around me. But, like, when people want to just curse, like, he doesn't curse, like, every sentence. So he does curse a lot. But the people that are like, I effing hate this effing blank. Like, I cannot stand that. And it does stress you. It gives you so much anxiety because you're like, oh, my gosh, what if someone heard that?
Yeah.
And I don't want to be associated, like, in public, if you're cursing out loud with me, like, that makes me look bad, like, just by association.
Right.
And I don't want to look that way.
Yeah.
I don't want someone to be in the aisle over at Walmart and hear you say GD and then see me and you walk by and then be like, oh my gosh, did she just say that?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want that.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've always struggled with because, like, my mom does not curse much at all. But I just don't. I don't like it. No. I don't like it at all.
It just causes me anxiety. And I don't know why, per se. Because it can be just me and that person, and because usually the cussing comes with anger. And so then I can feel the stress just creeping up my body.
See, I think with anger, it gives me a lot more anxiety. Because it's like, especially people that don't cuss much. Yeah. If they were to do that, because it just has such bad connotation and stuff. The words are so terrible that they're that angry that they're using them. Mm-hmm. And then you're just like, oh my gosh, like, what are they about to do?
Yeah.
Like, you don't know if they're about to, like, hit something, hit someone, and you don't want to be around that.
Right. It's hard. We talked about this earlier about anger, and I don't know if there's if anger is classified under a mental
probably
disorder.
Like, I don't know exactly what it'd be called, but there's definitely something out there.
I would like to learn about that.
Yeah,
because there are people that have reached out to me because I do talk about mental health on my lives in the morning, and they talk about anger control. I'm not an angry person.
I can be angry.
You can?
Yeah.
But what do you do when you're angry?
I can be grumpy. I don't know if angry is the word. Like, if I'm tired, I get very grumpy. And if, like, something's not done the way I want it done, I will blow my top. Like, at night, sometimes Andrew and I will go to his house before we go to my house. If, like, we get done doing something late. And we'll just, like, take a nap or something, and then we'll wake up. And, he's not a get up and go. I'm a get up and go. And I'm like, okay, my curfew's 12. We got it. It's 11:30. Okay, start getting up. That's what he does, right? And I'm like, okay, it's 11:35. Get up. And, I don't have to. I can get up later. 11:40 comes around. He's not up. So by 11:40, I'm like, I swear, I'm sick and tired of this. I hate being at your house. Why do you always do this? And he's like, are you serious right now? And then we don't talk the whole way to my house. And then I'm like, are you mad at me? He's like, maybe because you just screamed at me. So, like, last night, we went to my little cousin's birthday party. She turned 4. And we left around, like, 9-something. And it's like a 40-minute drive back to my house. So I was like, well, do you want to go to your house? He's like, yeah. And I was like, well, we both know I'm going to be grumpy. He's like, yeah. So we didn't go to his house,
Well, that's good.
I don't know. Sometimes I don't ever just get so mad at somebody. I get frustrated. Mm-hmm. But I usually just cry.
Yeah.
I don't yell unless I feel like I'm not being heard, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And I think my mom and I used to argue a lot when I was younger, and my mom's more of a my way or the highway person, which is fine. Like, she can do that. But so I felt like a lot when I was younger I wasn't being heard, which she's gotten a lot better where she actually hears me and what I'm saying, especially when I, like, first got diagnosed with, like, depression. I felt like she just wouldn't hear what I was trying to say. And now, whenever I feel like I'm not being heard, I just scream. I don't mean to. I just lose it. But I've definitely gotten better at handling my anger. I just, like, cry, or I go quiet, or I'll just go take a nap.
I usually go into shutdown.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason is because, like, I can't think of the right words to say. Like, I don't know. I really don't know how I'm feeling in the moment.
Yeah.
So the best thing for me to do, because I'm scared I might say something that I don't mean, so I just get quiet.
Yeah, I'm really bad at that. Like, if we don't, I mean, I don't know. I just don't want to accidentally say something I'm going to regret later. Like, I don't want to say I hate you, or, like,
Right.
I can't stand you, or you're the worst. Like, I don't want to say something like that.
Right.
So I try to just go, I usually go to sleep. Like, if I'm extremely anxious, or if I'm just, like, angry, I just go to bed. Because my thing is, when I wake up, I'm going to feel better.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no sense in us talking about this right now. We'll come back to it later, because I'm going to say something that neither of us want to hear. And then, lo and behold, if it doesn't stop, and we just keep going and going and going, I'm going to say something terrible. Because I have that problem. Like, you go low, I go lower.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to, but, I mean, if you call me ugly, I'm going to say something that's just terrible to you, and you're not going to want to hear it.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, it's like if you call me ugly, I'm going to go into a shell, and I'm not going to say a word, and then I'm going to sit and stew on it for days and days, and then I don't let it go.
See,
and then I snap when he does something else, and he's like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "Yesterday you said."
you did this on March 19th, 2017 at 9:50 a.m.
Yes, that is me.
Yeah, if I know them, I'll do something like that. Like, if Andrew and I were to get in a fight, and he'd be like, well, you just don't know when to shut up. I'd be like, well, you know what? Never mind. I'm not going to say, your pancreas doesn't work. So I say that to him all the time. I'm like, really? You want to go there? Because my pancreas works. Because you know he's diabetic. So, but if it's someone I don't know, and like after the pageant, there were like really negative and nasty comments made about me, and I was just like, I cried so much.
Yeah.
Because you're not supposed to care about what people think, but in my opinion, you are.
Yeah.
And my pastor at church has talked about it a lot. You want people to look at you and think, oh my gosh, that's a child of God. Like, they are a good example of a Christian and stuff like that. And that's what I want people to see. But when you're going out and telling all your friends that I'm a bad person, or I'm ugly because the person you wanted to win didn't win, that makes me feel awful. You know, especially when I try. Like, I used to not be a great person, but now I feel like I'm so kind, and I've done so much bettering of myself and growth as a human, and it's hard. Like, it's hard for kids to look at you and still see the same you were 4 years ago.
You've said this a couple of times in the past couple of episodes about the way you used to be. I don't know that story. I don't know what you're talking about when you say this change that made. I know you said you got saved, but I don't know. And I do remember you talking about being in the wrong crowd. But like, what led you up to where you are today?
So when I was 11, I fell into a deep depression after some stuff like bullying really bad at school happened, and just some major like life events that occurred, and I was so depressed, and I felt so unheard, and I felt like I was this big and my voice didn't matter and nothing. I was so suicidal. It was bad. Like the school was even worried about me.
At 11 years old.
Yeah. So
wow.
It was bad. And I got to the point where there were like bad rumors going around, so everybody's parents thought I was just this awful kid. And
did you threaten suicide?
Yeah.
You did.
But it was, I mean, my mom, it was hard for her.
Yeah.
Because she was scared, obviously. So I feel like it also made our relationship rocky because she was worried about trying to make sure I was okay, and she didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Because she had also just lost her dad.
Yeah.
and they were so close. Like, he lived with us, and me and him were close. So it was like I had all these things going on, and Mom was trying to work around her own grief and also try to be a mom.
Right.
And I just went through a lot like that. And then, everybody's parents, it's always the kids who are just the best Christians and never do any wrong, and they're just Alabama sweethearts,
Mm-hmm.
It's always their parents that want to say, they're an awful kid, don't be around them.
Yeah.
I had one teacher's kid friend throughout middle school and early high school. We're not really friends anymore, but her mom was a teacher, and her mom never felt that way about me. But her mom also didn't come from a ton of money, and her mom had things happen to her in her life, and her mom turned her life around. Now, she probably didn't do, I don't know, crack or anything like that,
Yeah.
which, people like that, they can still turn their life around, but she had some issues happen, and she grew from that, and she met a great husband who helped take care of her 3 kids, and, but she was the only kid that ever gave me a chance. Popular kid, I guess. And so I just went through with her. We weren't as close until high school, but I had all these kids I was hanging around who, felt the same that I did. And that's not a good crowd to be in.
Yeah.
You don't need one suicidal kid to be hanging out with other suicidal kids. You don't need to do that. And that's why I don't think there's any really, really young kids listening, but, give them a chance.
It's crazy because I don't see you like that at all.
It was bad.
But see, you probably don't see me like that.
Yeah.
Where I was like that too. And so, we both, even though you're 17, right?
Yeah.
And I'm 52, we have similar stories. You know what I'm saying? So we have, a lot in common, because today I consider myself very successful. I wake up happy every single day, and that's success to me. And so, thinking about you being 11-year-old like that. Now, at 11, I wasn't really depressed. My depression started really my senior year in high school.
Yeah.
And so I was your age, when all of it hit me. And just as your mom didn't know what to do with you, my mom had no idea what to do with me. And she was like, wait a minute, Judy's homecoming court, Judy's this, Judy's popular, she's head Valorette, what the heck? What's wrong with her? Why does she not want to live? And I remember my mom not understanding, but I don't think I even understood.
I think another thing that was hard with me and my situation was I played sports, and all the girls that played sports with me were very popular, and all their moms were best friends, but my mom wasn't a teacher. And my mom was never involved in the school because she was a single mom that worked her butt off. She didn't get to sit at home while her husband worked. And there's nothing wrong if you do that.
Right.
But she didn't get to do all this other stuff that these other moms did. So they all some of them didn't, but a lot of them resented me almost because I wasn't just, swimming in money and perfect. And, when all that stuff did happen, there was another girl. She moved schools, but she also tried to help a lot. And I didn't see it then, but I do now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just she was a really good person for that. And I started getting a little better when I got into high school, but then it was high school, how people are.
Yeah.
But I think sophomore year, really when I met Andrew, I really started getting better. A few weeks before I met him, I was okay, I got away from all the toxic people. I was I'm gonna get better, and I had gotten saved the August before we started dating in February. The August before I got saved, and I was doing really good at staying in that, but I was hanging around the same people. That you can't do that.
Right.
Just like a drug addict can't stop drugs if they're hanging around other drug addicts. They can't.
Right.
So I still struggled, and then when those people cut out of my life, I was doing great. I was going to church every Sunday. I was just happy. I was doing good. Everything was going great. But kids still didn't want to look at me and go, oh, you're changing. So all these boys that would make fun of me and say all these terrible things in middle school or something, or getting drunk on the weekends. And when I would say, like, hey, guys, you know, maybe I really don't think y'all need to get into that. And they're like, we don't care.
Yeah.
Like, you shut up, you have your own problems. And I'm like, okay. And then, like, even now, they still won't give me that chance. And half of their parents won't either.
You know, it's so crazy how you do something when you're younger and it follows you the rest of your life.
Yep, but if you meet the real Christians, the real ones that follow God and actually listen to what the Bible actually says about forgiveness and don't just listen to what you're supposed to be like, they'll tell you they've made mistakes.
Yeah.
They'll tell you they used to get drunk at parties, or maybe not even that, or they used to, you know, talk bad about people all the time. They used to be hateful all the time. And then they'll tell you that when they got saved, that stopped.
Right.
And I can say I used to be an awful person. I was mean to everybody because I had so much anger for feeling the way that I felt. And just, I was so sad that I would take that out on everybody. I was just like, I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
But now that I'm very honest. And that kind of takes some people a little rough. It takes them a while to understand that. But I've gotten better at being nice and not just being rude and badgering the whole time I'm talking to somebody. But kids don't want to see that. But, like, adults will see that. Like, my mom can see that. My aunt and uncle, they can see that. I've become, like, a completely different person. But those Christians that, you know, they don't do no wrong. Their baby don't do no wrong when their baby's getting drunk in a camper on the weekend. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, come on. Everyone's kid has done something stupid.
Right.
Whether you know it or not, your kid has done something that they weren't supposed to do.
Right.
And we're kids. We're going to make mistakes. But it's your job to have a good enough relationship for your kid to be honest with you.
Right.
Like, I've told Mom, hey, I screwed up. Like, I did something stupid, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, okay, well, you're in trouble, but we're going to fix this.
Yeah.
Like, if I was ever to just get drunk or something and I didn't have a way home,
Yeah.
I could call my mom and say, Mom, I need a ride home. Which I wouldn't do that. But if it happened, I would call Mom and be like, I need you. And she would be mad, especially because she had to wake up and go do that. But she would definitely be there in a heartbeat. And I feel like, you know, just moral of the story is that just give that person a chance. Give that kid that has had a rough home life, that does abuse drugs or does drink all the time or anything like that, give them a chance. Go sit with them at lunch. Go talk to them, because your influence might help them find God. Your influence might help them to get saved and become a new person, and they might change their life around, do a full 180.
Yeah.
And that's just...
Well, you know, I was talking this week. You know how people say, once a cheater, or always a cheater, or people can't change. They'll always, this is the way they were raised. You know how people say that?
Mm-hmm.
And I am in disagreement with that. Like,
anyone can change.
I believe people can change. I mean, I know it's not everyone that can change. You have to want it.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
you know, like sometimes people, let's talk about, like, obesity.
Yeah.
Because that's a mental health thing too, is weight and, like, anorexia and all those things. That's the mental disorder. And so, like, people say, you know, I can, like, some people, I've been big my whole life, I can't lose weight. Yes, you can. Yes, but you have to make up your mind.
You have
like,
to go,
you
hey,
have to
I can't
it.
eat this much.
You have to hate your life so bad that you're willing to change your entire life to fix the problem.
Yeah. That's one thing I've struggled, because, like, I know people that'll complain that they're like, oh my gosh, I'm just so big. And it's like, well, have you been cutting down how much you eat? Because I can tell you, you can lose weight and still eat what you want to eat.
Yeah.
Because I've learned, like, okay, I try not to. Some days, listen, as a female, you know this. When it's that time, you can
Yeah.
eat anything.
Yep.
Anything you put your mind to, you can eat it.
Yeah.
And you'll feel great after.
Yeah.
But I've learned, like, okay, you know, if I'm going to eat, I try to eat 3 meals a day. Sometimes I don't. But I'm not going to eat a burger, a greasy, I don't know, pasta, and then eat like a Pop-Tart or something. Like, you need to keep a balance. So, like, if I eat cereal for breakfast, I'll try to eat something better, maybe not be great. I might eat some like eggs or, you know, like a sandwich that doesn't have like a bunch of crap on it.
Yeah.
And then, like, the other thing with obesity is people are like, well, I don't want to work out. Most people, if you have so much excess weight, like I'm not severely overweight, but I'm at a weight right now that if someone who was 600 pounds, if me and that person were to start walking 4 miles every day, they would drop like 30 pounds ASAP, and I would drop maybe 2.
Right.
Because the bigger you are and the more excess weight you have, it's going to be easier for you to lose weight because all of that has, like, it's just sitting there.
Well, I used to be an aerobic instructor. I was an aerobic instructor for 28 years, and I have many certifications, and I have done a lot of, like, certifications in health and fitness and all that stuff. And anytime someone's losing weight, 95% is what goes into your mouth.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that little bitty percent is what you do in the gym.
Yep.
You know, it is really about what you eat. And I found, and this is just me personally, but Weight Watchers to me is one of the best programs because it gives you an opportunity to eat like real food. And if you eat Milo's cheeseburger, like, you haven't ruined your diet because you can still eat supper, and they give you 0-point foods. And I really found when I struggled with my eating disorder, which I've talked about before, but I would just starve myself.
Yeah,
Like,
I've been
I
there.
would just starve myself,
And it's worse for your body.
It's
Because
terrible.
you'll mess up
Kill
your
the
metabolism. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, I did that for so long. And so, like, now, like, my metabolism has slowed down a little bit, but it's still really fast. But, I've stopped doing a lot. Kind of like, they say there's the freshman 15.
Yeah.
Well, I'm out of high school. I've been going to college, like, fast tracking, but it's still the same thing in my opinion. And I think that's why I've gained a little bit of weight. But I try to run like a hard mile or just like a mile every other day. Like, sometimes I might take 2 or 3 days in between, but I try to listen to my body. But, like, that run makes me feel so good. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel great after. I try not to eat terrible. Like, some days I don't eat breakfast. Like, if I'm not hungry, I don't like to force myself to eat because it makes me feel really nasty if I do that. But I always drink water. If I'm not drinking water, it might be a Diet Canada Draw. Like, I'm not drinking regular Cokes. I'm not drinking anything like that.
Yeah.
And then, I eat a lot of sandwiches. Like, PB&Js are, like, my thing. Mm-hmm. But I'm not eating, like, a burger every night or anything like that. I try to keep it balanced. Mm-hmm. I love grilled chicken tenders. Mm-hmm. That's what I've been into recently.
At Cracker Barrel.
Ugh. No.
You don't like Cracker Barrels?
Well, they're good, but I, like, work there, so it's just, like, kind of nasty to do that.
I love Cracker Barrels.
No, they have some at Walmart. Like, it's like I don't know how, it's not 30 pounds, definitely not. It's like a big bag, and it's got grilled chicken tenders, and you just, like, eat them up.
Vanson eats those.
Oh, they're so good. I just season them, and then I eat that, and it's, like, so much protein. It's so much protein, and it makes you feel good.
Yeah.
And I eat a lot of peanut butter. Which is a lot of calories, but it's a lot of protein, so I feel like that cancels out.
Yeah.
But I think the best thing is I don't want to say, oh no, you're not eating ice cream today because you ate a big meal. Like, whatever. If you want to eat a piece of chocolate cake, eat it. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
I can still eat a dessert every day and keep a decent figure. I just have to watch what else I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to go back for thirds if I'm wanting ice cream.
Right.
Like, I know when there's a limit, but I've extended my limit because I do think that God gave you your body, and your body is a temple. I don't think you should be shoveling Doritos in there every second of the day. But I also think that God gave you this body. You're going to live with it for the rest of your life. Why do you want to hate it?
Yeah.
Like, you should want to work to feel better.
I feel like when because we as girls beat ourselves up over our body image.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and it starts in high school. Like, and then, you know, because you feel like guys don't like fat girls and all that stuff.
Or you don't want to be too skinny, but you want to have a butt. You want to have a chest.
Yes. And I think that that when it gets to the point where it's constantly on your mind, you know, about like your body image is when you need to address the problem. And you know how we talked about going to counseling and stuff like that?
Yeah.
You know, anybody that is struggling with body image, I highly recommend going to counseling because you really want to smash that problem at a young age before you are like 52 years old, and then you're like, why am I still dealing with the same things that I dealt with when I was 17? Like, this is not good. Because it doesn't go away.
No.
It does not go away.
Well, I know, like, guys also struggle really bad because they want to be, all these guys want to be big and buff and, you know, like, and all that.
Yeah.
See, I don't find the big, like, bodybuilders with their arms out of here, I don't find that attractive. But some girls do.
Yeah.
And I feel like guys want to look good for themselves. Girls want to look good. Some girls want to look good for other people.
Right.
See, I've learned now that it's like, I just want to love myself. And realistically, if I don't love myself the weight I'm at now, I'm not going to love myself at the weight I could be at. You know?
Well, you know, I often say this, but what does the best version of you look like? And I feel like as a human being, that's something that with talking about mental illness is you should work every day at being the best version of you. And you're not going to be perfect, obviously, but it's baby steps. And I talked about this in my live is like being balanced. And if you find yourself like all you're doing is concentrating on eating right and it's like consuming you, well, then what happens is your relationship with your spouse or your boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever, it starts getting unbalanced.
Yeah.
And you've got to work every day at trying to stay balanced, because if you're just concentrating on one thing, you're not gonna have fullness and wholeness, and you're not gonna be happy.
Yeah, I think one thing I've had to learn is, like, my body's changing. It's going to keep changing because, you know, they say girls go through, like, a second puberty. So it's like, you know, when you first get your period and stuff, your body's changing. All these changes, like you're getting boobs, your, you know, your hips are widening. All these things are happening to your body. Well, that happens again. I don't know if it's when you're 18, something like that, but your body's going to start changing even more.
Yeah.
Because your body's getting ready to, like, you know, have babies. That's what our bodies are made to do. So I think one thing that's difficult for me is, like, I got a little pooch. Everybody is a pooch. And, like, I have a little belly, but, like, I can say, like, I looked in the mirror this morning when I was getting ready for church, and I was like, you know what? I'm okay with this.
Yeah.
Like, I run. Hear me out. I don't want to go to the gym every day.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. That's not something I'm interested in. And I'm okay with not being 100 pounds and being bulked. Like, I would probably look great, but I don't want to put in the work to do that. So I know that I'm content with the way I look right now.
Yeah.
So I think that's something most people struggle with.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm okay with how I look right now.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you don't get to the point where you love yourself, you're never going to love yourself. Like, I promise, if you don't love yourself at 300 pounds, you're not going to love yourself at 150.
Right.
You have to learn to love yourself.
Yep, you'll find it's not even the weight. It's something else.
Yeah, well, like when I run, sometimes I'll go run if I feel sick, sometimes I'll go run. If I'm nauseous, I'll go run, and I feel so much better.
Yeah.
Or if I've had like a rough day.
Yeah.
Because my thing is, I stress about school all the time. I can't stress about school if I'm running, because what am I going to be able to do while I'm running? Nothing.
Right.
So running is like, running and sleeping, those are like the 2 times, or just working out in general. Those are the 2 times that you can just chill. Well, walking, I feel like, I don't know if I'd be good at walking, because I feel like it'd stress me out.
Yeah.
Because it's going so slow, and it would take forever. But running, like, you get it done under 20 minutes, if usually like 10, but you can have it done and not have to worry about anything. And most people I talk to that work out say that they work out for themselves, not even really their body, just like to feel good. Like, it makes you feel good. My dad and I go run sometimes, and after we run, we just feel great.
Right.
And that's just something I love. Like, I love the aftermath of running and how it makes you feel.
Right. Right.
But I feel like other people have like different things that make them feel like that.
Well, usually when you're running, your endorphins kick in.
Yeah.
When you get your heart rate up, so that's what's making you feel good. You know, and obviously a sense of accomplishment. You know that you did something.
You're like,
positive.
oh my gosh, I just ran a mile today.
Yeah.
Like, go me.
Yeah.
You know, I could have just been sitting at home on the couch not doing anything, but I just did that.
Yeah.
What would you say, like, what do you do, like, to feel good?
It's crazy, but I have my Apple Watch.
Yeah.
And I usually keep track of how many steps I've walked. So, like, today I've walked 7,852, which is not much compared to what I normally do. So, usually I try to hit 10,000 steps every day. So, if I find myself, I've got to go put the animals up tonight. So by the time
that's 3,000 right
so
there.
by the time I finish putting the animals up, I'll hit the 10,000. But
I could see you like running around in circles.
I do. I drive Shane crazy because I don't ride the golf cart.
Well, but
But
like
I'm
little
not doing
things like that.
I'm not doing that.
See,
I'm
it's
like,
little things like that. That's like, instead of riding the golf cart, you chose to walk that extra distance, and that's a good thing.
Now, if I look down on my watch and I'm at 13,000 and it's 3 o'clock, I'll ride the golf cart.
I'm riding that golf cart.
I'm riding the golf cart. But I work towards having 10,000 steps every day. And a lot of that is because, you know, I lost my parents at a young age. And my mother was diabetic and had problems eating right.
So
and
bad. We shouldn't laugh about this.
And my mom had a stroke from diabetes because she did not take care of herself.
Was she type 1 or type 2?
She took insulin.
Not how that works.
So,
was it like, did she develop it? Or
Yes.
was it like
She developed
genetic is type 1?
So I guess it's type 2 then. Cause
You can get it later down the line.
Which my mother I was in high school when my mom developed diabetes. And when she developed diabetes, she lost her vision and was in intensive care. And I was in high school, and my mother was a single mother. And me and my brothers were like, because she was on her deathbed, her blood sugar was like 600, and she had lost her vision. And here I am in high school, and they're sitting us down going, your mom may not make it. And we were like, who's keeping us? I mean, it was terrible.
Yeah, diabetes is not something to play with.
It is terrible. So I just, and she neglected her health, and then she had a stroke, and my mom was bedridden for 11 years. And so I witnessed my mom having a catheter and a feeding tube for 11 years, and I'm like, I'm not doing that to myself. I am not doing that to myself. And my dad smoked his whole entire life and developed lung cancer, and so then he lost his life at 60-something years old. I mean, he was like 61, and my mom was 62.
Yeah, I've watched like family go through really bad drug addictions.
Yeah.
Lose their kids.
Yeah.
And that's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to look at, and it's like, I would never do drugs because of that.
Right.
But
But
those
you don't
types of
have
people
those
don't
addictive.
get that.
Well, you don't have an addictive personality, you know, and
Well, it runs in both sides of my family. So that's why, like, I never want to try, like, hardcore drugs. I don't want to get, like, my mom, her dad was an alcoholic. He got way better as years went on, but when she was younger, he was a really bad alcoholic, and my mom doesn't drink much because of that.
yeah.
Because my mom is scared, and I would never drink like that. And that's, like, one thing is, like, when you're younger, you don't think about that stuff.
Yeah.
But the older you get, you're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, this might happen to me. And, like, seeing that happen and seeing my cousins have to go through what they've went through, it's like, why would I want to do that to my family?
Right.
But, and then when you get to see, like, I had an uncle, he's turned it around. And it's like, you feel so proud of them. And it's like, oh my gosh, you know, you went from this really low point in your life and you've came all the way up here. And it's a good thing to be able to see them
Right.
do that.
Right. Well, thanks for talking today.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, and I was gonna talk to them about giving away a gift card this time, because we appreciate you guys watching us and subscribing to our page. So if you subscribe to our page and comment where you're from and share our video, we're going to be giving away a 2-person pass for a free meal, free dessert, and free drinks at Cracker Barrel.
Yes, so all you have to do, as she said, is subscribe. I would say like. They definitely got to like. Give us a little like.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, this is on YouTube, though. You have to go over to our YouTube channel at Noodle Brains. Is it Noodle Brains Podcast or just Noodle Brains? Just Noodle Brains. And you have to subscribe, like, comment where you're from, and share our video. And it is a gold card, and you will get it, and you and another person, you get, as she said, all those things. And it'd be a really good date night.
Yes.
So if you're on a budget, come on, you know Christmas is coming up. Your wife wants those tenders from Cracker Barrel. So those girl tenders, ain't that right, Judy?
Oh, they're so good.
Judy's going to go like the video and stuff so she can get that. No, but seriously, go do that. And then if you are on the audio only version, just hop over on YouTube and go do all that. And I think that is all.
All right. Well, we'll see you next week.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Was this seat wet?
Is it wet? I think so.
I think my boot is wet. It definitely is. That'd be the second time I did that today.
Oh, it is.
Oh, I'm so.
Let me see. Oh.